Hey everyone, Wyduck here again, this time with Game 3 of a Best of 5 series from the recent Dreamhack Winter 2013 edition, and this time from the Losers Final. You've got spawning on Frost in the bottom right as the red Zerg representing Startale. We have Life. And his opponent spawning in the top right as the blue Protoss, representing Team Azubu. We have Patience. Now this should be an interesting game. Patience is currently down 2-0 to his Zerg opponent. And both games he's been handedly defeated, so it'll be really up to Patience to see if he can up his game. Both games were kind of standard games, and he wasn't really able to do significant damage to Life, and Life was just able to win those games very easily, it seemed like, from my perspective. So it's really difficult sometimes to buck the trend, and this is Frost. If I was Patience, I might elect to do some cheese, but since this is Frost, it is a large map, and it is a 4-player map as well. It's generally kind of difficult to proxy your opponent or do some sort of cheese simply because you have to scout out your opponent first. So it may be going to a more standard game. Now Life in both previous games elected not to get early gas, instead getting more hatcheries early and then dominating the economic game and then pushing forward. And it looks like it may be the same sort of style here. We do have the hatchery first play again from Life. And I don't see really anything different coming out from Patience either. So we may be looking at a 20-minute game, just like the previous games. And if they are just exactly the same, then Life should come out on top. But you never know in this game, as both players are very adept. Now, it looks like both players are very lucky. They're able to scout out their opponent on the first try. You do have a 33% chance to guess where your opponent is. But both players have been able to scout out each other very quickly. And that might change up the strategies just a little bit. Now, there are certain things to take a note of here on Frost. To get into the natural, there are actually 2 ramps for both players. So it is a lot easier to attack. You can't just block off one ramp. You kind of have to actually, generally, players just block off this area. And also, when you get to your third base, generally mid to late game, it can be an issue to protect because it's very easy if you have long range air units or siege tanks to attack the other player from the ridge line. So that is something to keep a note of here on Frost. And it might affect Life earlier than Patience, because Life is going for that third base over here instead of going for the location over here. So very interesting choice by Life, but Life has been going for the triple hatchery before basically anything else sort of strategy, and it has worked out well for him. But we do have a Zealot incoming already very close to Life's natural hatchery. And if you notice, Patience doesn't have a second Nexus of his own. So the plan from Patience might be to put down the proxy pylon behind these bushes and to do a quick attack. Now, I'm not sure why the Zealot is hanging out here. I guess he's just waiting for some incoming drones. The Spine Crawler will be put down by Life to protect any more incoming Zealots. These Zerglings can totally deal with this one lone Zealot, and with that Queen in the range, the Zealot is now going to be forced to engage. Life was actually attacking his own Overlord, so that is interesting. So it looks like the Zerglings have been able to spot that proxy pylon, but another pylon is going to go down on the high ground. And the Stalkers are going to move in here to reinforce the Zealot. Then now the Zerglings are going to have to retreat, and it looks like that lack of Zergling speed may finally come back to haunt Life. In the first 2 games, he elected not to get Zergling speed, so he forfeited map control. And in this game, he still doesn't have Zergling speed once again. And this may really hurt him, because without Zergling speed, these Stalkers are very, well, I shouldn't say very effective, but they're much more effective than they otherwise would be. Because if you can surround the Stalkers, they're generally useless. But without that Zergling speed, they're a lot harder to surround. And now the Spine Crawler has gone down. The second Spine Crawler is canceled. Looks like Queen will go down as well. And it looks like the marauding Protoss army is coming in here to do a lot of damage. Zerglings are able to surround the Stalkers significantly, but they're against the back, so they're not fully surrounded. Just the front line is surrounded. The Zealots are chopping up a lot of these Zerglings. A lot of Stalkers do go down as well. And if you take a look at resources lost, it is quite significant for our Zerg player. He has 8 more Zerglings on the way. But Patience is putting on the pressure here. It looks like he is changing up his strategy. Like I mentioned before, it might be the best thing for him to do. If he's not going to be able to win a lot of standard games, maybe just spice it up with some gateway timings. It looks like it is very effective here. If you take a look at the supply, Patience is up by about 10 supply. Now, we do have 4 or 5 Zerglings able to escape, but I'm not sure what damage they're going to be able to do. Maybe they'll come back in for a flank, but we do have a lot of Stalkers and quite a few Zealots here as well. We do have a Spinecrawler forming in the back, as well as 10 more Zerglings. Is that Spinecrawler going to be able to finish, though, to provide some support? Yes, but it is at half-life. It is going to be poking away, getting a few jabs away. 1 shot left on the Spinecrawler, and before it goes down, the Stalkers are moving forward. The Zerglings are now retreating. Now that Queen is surrounded as well. I don't think Life is going to be able to hold this off. He has 12 Zerglings on the production queue, but they're not able to come out as of yet, and now that hatchery is basically forfeit. So going for that early third base is really hurting Life, and wow, interesting. No GG. He just leaves the game. Very interesting. So Patience is going to win Game 3 with a very quick game, less than 10 minutes. So we'll have to see. It's still match point for Life. So if the only way he can win is doing these sorts of gateway timings or proxies, then I think Life is in a pretty good position. So we'll have to head over to Game 4 to see if Life can finally close it out, or if Patience is going to extend it to a deciding Game 5.